timestamps and chapters are in the description. Today I'm going to show you how to create an economy scoreboard where you can add money to players and businesses inside your economy world on Bedrock Edition. First things first, this is the setup that I have here. I'm going to explain this to you before we get started. So green, these are going to be the light green is going to be your one-time commands that we're going to use. The green, the dark green, is going to be our test commands, and then the yellow are the commands that you're going to be using all the time. Now what I recommend doing is building something like this. We're going to put command blocks back here. It's going to look something like this. Build something like this. That way you always have the commands to reference. You don't have to put them in command blocks. You can just type them in chat. But if you have this system here, then you'll always have a record of your commands and you won't have to worry about forgetting them. You can always refer to this and add on to it later. So for your own references, make sure you build something like this. So the first thing we're going to do is give ourselves a command block. So /give @s command block. All right. And then enter that. And we should now have a command block. Mine's probably in my inventory. Here it is. So the first thing we're going to do is create this little board here that I've got. And so we're going to have our create scoreboard. It's going to be a one-time use indicated with the black button. We'll have an add a point to the scoreboard. This is for our testing phase indicated with a green button. We're going to remove a point from ourselves for the test phase. And we're going to reset our scoreboard in the test phase. And then we'll also check to see what our score is in the test phase as well. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our economy list to the pause menu here. That way everyone joining the game can see how much money they have and they can see the competing businesses as well, which we'll get into that in a little bit later. And then the yellow, these are the commands that you're going to be using all the time. So as you add money to players, you're going to be using these commands. And as you remove money from players, you're going to be using these commands. And if you're going to be creating businesses as well, maybe you want your businesses to show up in the scoreboard. So that's why I created these, and we're going to get to that at the end of the video. So the first thing we're going to do is create the scoreboard. So make sure you place your command block here. And the command to create scoreboard is this. So it's scoreboard objectives add, and we're going to call our scoreboard economy. You can call your scoreboard business, you can call it money, you can call it wallet, whatever you want. But because I'm going to be adding businesses to this scoreboard, and I'm also going to be adding players to the scoreboard, I decided just to call it economy. So now I can have a city economy, I can have a player economy, I can have business economies, and we'll get to that a little bit later. So the next thing we're going to do is create our test board. So we want to add a point, and to add a point to yourself, the command is going to be this right here. So execute as at p r equals 4, that's radius equals 4, at s, so the command block will be pretending to be you, run scoreboard players add at s economy 1. This will add 1 point to your scoreboard for the test trial. So we're going to put that inside of our command block here, just like that. And then we're going to add our remove point next. Oops, I like to have my arrows always pointing outwards. That way we can add commands at the end. If you want to add a sound command too, that way it pings every time you push the button so you know it's working. So this is our remove command block. Same thing as the last one, but instead of saying add at the end, it actually says remove. So let's add that to the remove section here. I'll just paste it in. That's what it should look like. And the next command is going to be the reset command block. So this is either to reset or set. So as you can see over here, this is going to do scoreboard player set at P, so at the closest player, economy, that's the name of our scoreboard, 0. All right, so we can make it set it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 0. I just like to use 0 to reset it. This is going to be our test. So I'm going to copy this, and I will paste it over here. All right. The next thing we're going to do is the message. All right, scoreboard message. And this is just going to let me know how much money I have. And this command looks like this. This is going to be tell raw at p, which is closest player, and then raw text you have, and I decided to use yellow. So if you put the section symbol here, which can be found on your Xbox just by pressing down, or sorry, by pressing your left trigger, you can find the section symbol. On computer, it's a little bit harder, so you might need to just go on Google, type in section symbol, and then you'll see this weird little S thing. Anyway, you have, and then right under that, I did section symbol 2, because that's going to make my money look green, or my words look green. And then score name at P objective economy. This is going to tell you what your score is in this scoreboard. And then text, and I did my section symbol E again, and I wrote dollars. All right, it doesn't have to be this complicated, but I just like it to look like this. So make sure you copy this verbatim as you see it with all these symbols. All right, I'm going to copy this and paste it into my command block over here. And if you're on computer, all of these will be in the description, so you can just copy them from the description into your Minecraft game. If you're on Xbox, you'll probably have to type it out character by character. So this is going to be adding the scoreboard to our pause menu. You can add it to the list on the right side of your screen. You can add it above your name where your hotbar is, but I think it's neater just to have it in the pause menu. That way it's kind of out of your way. So we're going to add this. This is scoreboard objective set display list economy. You can have it set display sidebar economy if you want it to be in the sidebar or above your name, but I would like to use the list. All right, so let's copy this and let's paste this here. So this is what it looks like: scoreboard objective set display list economy. And this is our whole test section now. So we'll get to this in a little bit, but let's test it out and make sure that it works. So we're going to first create our scoreboard. Now again, I have command block output on, so I'm going to see that all these commands are functioning properly. If you have command block output off, you might want to add an additional chain command block to your system here and just have a play sound. That way you know that every button is working when you push it, but we're not going to do that in this video. So let's create the scoreboard. So as you can see, a new objective economy successfully created, and that was it. Nothing else has happened. Okay. Let's add a point to ourselves. As you can see, 1 point has been added to me, and again, we don't see anything. It just happens to be there. We can remove a point from ourselves. All right, I now have 0. Let me add another point. I can reset my scoreboard to 0, or if I want, I can set it to 5 as well, like that. See, set it to 5, but I'm going to keep it as reset to 0. All right, so I now have 6. Let me reset it to 0. Okay, there we go. And there you go. I just added another point. Finally, over here, scoreboard message. How many scores do I have right now? If I push this button, you have $1. All right. And then now it's time to add this to the pause menu over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push this button. And as you can see, the pause menu is now called economy, and I have $1 in this economy. The more money I add to myself, the more you can see my score goes up. I now have 3. I now have 4. So now we're going to get into this. Let me set my time today really quick. So let's say you want to add a business, all right, to your economy, and you want it to display inside your pause menu. Here's how you do that. Over here is the add an entity to scoreboard. And it's simply scoreboard players add, and then in quotation marks, you must use quotations, type in the name of either the player or the business, and then you type in economy, whatever the name of your scoreboard is, and then however much you're going to add. So for this example, we'll add 1. So I'm going to copy this, and then I'm going to paste it over here. All right. And then let's say we want to remove the entire entity from the scoreboard. We can do that as well. I think that just removes a point. Okay, so what this is going to do is this is going to remove not an entity, but a score from the entity. Remove score from entity from the scoreboard. All right. So what this is going to do is remove $1 from it. So let's add $1 to it first of all. So we have push this button. So now bank 1 has been added. Let's do it again. Bank 1 now has $2. Bank 1 now has $3. Now if I want to remove some money from this entity, just push that button. Scoreboard players remove. Oh, sorry, this is the wrong thing. All right, so bank 1. So as you can see, I just removed bank 1 from the. I removed the point from bank 1, but I made a mistake and I added bank, and I don't want bank here anymore. This was a mistake. So there's an honorable mention I was going to say for the end of the video, but this is a good time to show this to you. So let's say I accidentally added a player to the scoreboard who I don't want to be on the scoreboard. All you have to do is do this command. I'm gonna type it out. Give me a minute. So to remove a player that we accidentally added, we're going to do scoreboard players reset, and then we have this and then economy. So let's try this, and this is going to remove entity from scoreboard. All right, so as you can see, we have bank. I accidentally had bank added here, so I'm going to push this button, and now bank no longer appears. All right, so let's say I want to add a new player. All right, I'm going to add Jimmy Jam to the economy. All right, he's not there right now, but when I push this button, he's there. So here's Jimmy Jam, and I don't want him here. I made a mistake. I spelled his name wrong or whatever. We have to put Jimmy Jam here. Make sure it's spelled right. Push the button, and as you can see, Jimmy Jam has been removed. So that's an honorable mention. Another honorable mention here is, let's say we created the wrong scoreboard. Let's say I spelled economy wrong and I need to destroy it. All we have to do is type this command in. So scoreboard objectives remove economy. All right, and what this will do is this will delete your entire economy. It'll delete all the progress, like so. So as you can see, it deleted everything. And if I create the scoreboard again, if I create the economy scoreboard, it doesn't show up in the list anymore. And I no longer have any money because we deleted the entire system. So let's add some money to myself. All right, so I now have $2, right? Yes, I do. And now let's add it to the pause menu here. As you can see, I have $2. Now, let's say we've created a brand new scoreboard. We've created the money scoreboard and we no longer want to use economy, but we don't want to delete it. All we have to do is remove it from the display. That's what we want to do. So what we're going to do is scoreboard objective set display list. And all that's going to do is just override the display. So the original thing we have here is scoreboard objectives set display list economy. But over here, it's scoreboard objective set display list. Nothing else after it, okay? And when we do that, if we push the button, it deletes everything. So this is how you can create your scoreboard. We went from creating the scoreboard, adding a point to ourselves, removing a point to ourselves, resetting ourselves or setting ourselves to anything we want, messaging ourselves to see how much we have, and adding the thing to the pause menu, which we just removed from the pause menu, but we did not delete the scoreboard, so that's why we still have our existing money. We were able to add entities to the scoreboard, and we were able to remove entities from the scoreboard. In addition to that, we were able to delete the scoreboard. Maybe we made a misspelling mistake, maybe we don't want to use it anymore. We were able to remove the list display. Maybe we don't want to see the display anymore. We can just remove it. And on top of that, let me add it back one more time. On top of that, we were able to remove an entity from the display using this command here. We're able to remove an entity from the display. So what I'm going to do now is let me just go through all these command blocks in order. That way you have all the references. So first things first, create scoreboard. This is what the command looks like. All right. To add a point to your test thing here, this is what that command looks like. Remove 1 point from your scoreboard, your personal scoreboard, when you're doing your test. That's what this looks like. Reset or set your scoreboard to whatever you want. So this won't delete your scoreboard because we have set, but it will set it to whatever you want. And then we have the scoreboard message, so it will tell you precisely what your score is. This is great for doing mini games, missions, quests. You can have an NPC or a command block tell you what your current score is. We have add to pause menu. That's what this command looks like. We have add an entity or player to the scoreboard. That's what this command looks like. And you can always copy it and paste it in chat. You know, if we don't want to use the commands, but it's always a good idea to keep these this command here, these command blocks. We can also remove an entity from the scoreboard. We can remove a point from their scoreboard, but we can also remove an entity itself from the scoreboard using this command here. All right. And finally, if we want to fully delete the scoreboard, that's what this command does. And if we want to fully remove the display in the pause menu or wherever we set it, that's what this command does. All right. So now you know how to create a scoreboard, manage your scoreboard, and test your scoreboard. And there's so much you can do with this. If you want to create mini games, you want to create multiple scoreboards, you have a reference here. So that's why I recommend strongly build this system out the way I have it. And then you'll always have a reference and you can mix and match things. You can always take a structure block, copy it, paste it somewhere, and then switch everything out. Let's say you want a money scoreboard, you want a jewelry store scoreboard, you can do stuff like that. My favorite thing is just adding entities, so we can add businesses like banks, we can add players, maybe we have a city, you know, we can add the city to it. So let's say I have the main city. We can have city economies, you can have multiple different economies, and then you can just add points to those economies. So this is precisely how to create your economy scoreboard for your economy world. Hope you enjoyed this video, hope you found it helpful.